Today our guest lecture, or the seminar, is Zuhal Kol. I will talk a little bit about Zuhal, and then later on I will give talk to her. As you all know from our announcement, she will be talking on the Nomad encounters. Zuhal is actually a talented architect and the co-founder of Openact Architecture. If you have read her, background, but she had her bachelor's degree from ITU, and later on she continued her education and professional life abroad. Now she is in Madrid, but also she has connections with Istanbul, and her design studio is examining in both cities and operating in the fields of architecture and urbanism. So I guess she will be talking on these issues. So her firm has a multitude of scales that support and promote contemporary urban life, and also focusing on strong, work and design relationships between public realm, infrastructure, and the environment. She has, competition awards and also some professional work. You may also, follow up from her site or the internet. So the seminar will focus on the nomad experiences that she has, and in her seminar. So I want to thank for joining to us, to Zuhal, and all of you for listening. She will be making, I guess, 30 or 40 minutes, talk, and afterwards, for some time, you may ask questions. So if you have something in your mind, I definitely, suggest you to just write down the question, so you will have the opportunity to ask. Okay, so I will give talk to Zuhal. Zuhal, you can open your microphone and go on. You can share screen, whatever you want. Okay.
Thank you very much, Mehmet Hocam. I would like to welcome everyone to this event, and I would like to thank the Faculty of Architecture and Architecture Department for inviting me to give this lecture on the homecoming week, on the opening week of the fall semester. So I am told that there are quite a few first-year students in here. And this seminar is actually part of the orientation events that take place during the first week of the Faculty of Architecture. So I also would like to welcome you all to the school as an alumni of the school and as a current adjunct lecturer of the school. I also would like to welcome you all to this community that hopefully will be part of your life for the rest of the years. As it is for me, I hope it will be for you too. I would like to, if everyone is here, I would like to share my screen and start the presentation. As you are informed, due to the international body of Istanbul Technical University students, and also the international outreach of this event, we will be conducting this presentation in English. However, as we continue with the questions and answers part, please be comfortable. You can be firing away questions in Turkish if you would like to. I would be happily welcoming any language option, either Turkish or in English. I mean, no more than that. No more language options than that. But yes, let's begin with today's presentation. I named the presentation Nomad Encounters because today I would like to concentrate a little bit on the journey that I have taken since my architectural studies, and later how my professional architectural life also had been affected through my journeys and through the encounters that I have experienced over the course of the years. Therefore, we will be continuing speaking about nomadism a little bit. If only my screen was moving. I have a problem. Excuse me for 1 second.
Zuhal, is it about, presentation? Doesn't work?
I don't know what happened, but it was just not moving. I'm gonna reshare my screen right now.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Hopefully this time it will work. All right. Yes, now it moves. And today I will be presenting you some of the works and some part of this journey and how this journey and how the people I met and how the countries I have been to affected all the work and what kind of work I was able to create. But please, I would like to be aware that, and I would like to underline this very much, that the work that I am going to be showing to you today does not solely belong to me. This is the collaborative work, brilliant minds coming together and producing together. And here I also would like to thank them, giving me the opportunity to be able to present this great amount of work in such an important institution. As Mehmet Hoca explained, I am a graduate of Istanbul Technical University. I started my education in ITU, not in architecture department though. I started studying in urban planning department. However, after 1.5 years, I have changed my department to architecture, and I graduated from the architecture department. However, the education that I have received in both of the departments, maybe undeliberately and kind of like subliminally posited my understanding of architecture and also urban design in such a way that the two of them were for me unbreakable from each other. And the relationship, the scalar relationship in between the two was, in my opinion, was something during my studies where I found that the research was lacking and the relationship was lacking. And I felt that either the unit, both the units and the whole needed to be much more in conversation with each other, and that kind of stuck with me. Later on, during my studies in ITU, I was also part of the Erasmus program, where I met my partner, Carlos Darko. And later on, I have received a master's degree in the United States in Cornell University, where I was focusing on urban design issues. And here you can see some of the brilliant minds that we are working continuously today. There are many more people, many more architects, engineers, planners, designers who are involved in our works from different nationalities as well. But this is the team that we are constantly collaborating with, and I also would like to thank them. And as you can see, many of them, they have their backgrounds in Istanbul Technical University. So you should be aware that that your colleagues, that your friends today, or your professors today, you're going to be most probably continuing working with them as professional partners or as consultants, as collaborators in the future. So I hope that you feel this power. So I hope that you feel the power of the environment that you're in. All the different cultures, all the different countries, the different institutions, the different people I have met over the course of these years, both during my studies and afterwards, actually changed kind of and shifted the focus on how I was approaching and perceiving architecture and also urbanism. I was able to experience the beginnings of 21st century, that it was marked with with crises one after another. You know, when I graduated, there was the economic crisis after 2008. Later, we are right now going through the climate crisis. And there was the immigrants crisis when I was in the United States, and later that immigrant crisis also come to Europe, as I am still living here in Europe right now, and currently the entire world is also going through a health crisis. So this is rather a century that is dominated and defined by crisis, and the idea and the terminology that we are using, we are trying to define this as crisis, is actually quite problematic. Maybe we need to be the ones changing how we are perceiving the world, and maybe we need to be the ones who are just normalizing these changes, these transformations, and stop calling them and crisis, and just accept them as changes and transformations that are happening in our world. And this kind of shifted the research areas that we were working on within the office. That's why some of the terminology that you are seeing here on the screen right now is what we are focusing on. And we are focusing on with these keywords, with this terminology, basically on the public space and the public infrastructure, because we're a firm that is working in the intersection of architecture and urbanism and design. And public space or public infrastructure is the basis that is organizing the daily urban life. And it's because of this reason it is subject to changing socio-political, ecological, economic, or cultural demands much more than any other architectural enterprise. And within the light of our understanding, approach, and our research, we're trying to focus on the issues of adaptability, of plurality, diversity, and we're trying to generate a public realm, an infrastructure, and an environment through our research on the open-ended systems that are promoting and supporting contemporary urban life. So because we are working heavily on public space projects, as Mehmet Hoca also mentioned, we are the work that we are focusing on is generally urban scale and generally supported and provided by government authorities. Therefore, we are joining and attending to many national and international competitions. We have numerous awards in those competitions. However, our productions are not just limited to architectural or urbanism projects. Due to our research, we are also a company, a firm, who is constantly producing research work through different mediums such as exhibitions, biennales. We're part of lots of conferences, and also we are continuously publishing. And today, I would like to take you to 3 of our projects, and the first one is Pandema Design Park. This project is one of the most important projects that we have worked with in Openact, because it is actually the initiation of our studio in a formal way. This is what created the basis for Openact to actually operate formally as an architectural and urbanism design studio. In 2017, this is also a competition project. It was an international competition that was organized in 2016, and the results were announced in early 2017. We have won the first award in this competition. For those of you who do not know where Pandema is located, it's located within the Marmara region. And although it is not in Istanbul, it is due to the region and due to the region's infrastructure, it's an area that is heavily under the influence of Istanbul metropolitan areas, infrastructural network and relations. It's an area with an international port. It's geographically in an area that's also really interesting and unique, because as you can see over here, it's in a bay where which welcomes strong winds, but at the same time, right behind it, we have Manyas Lake with this unique and diverse habitat. So it is this area where you can see the blend of infrastructure, ecologic inputs, and at the same time, industrial and economic ones too. The question in here, the competition brief asked for a design institute that will be concentrating on architecture, urbanism, and landscape architecture. And the idea was that this area would be generating ideas not only for the Marmara region, but in general for the entire country, because as you know, Turkey is still a country heavily building, heavily dominated by construction and urbanization. However, the pace of of how things are being done is unfortunately avoiding more professionals and academicians to be able to prepare a prominent groundwork and research work. So the idea of the brief of this competition was to create a design institute within this region, and our proposal for this competition concentrated on this question, which I am going to read it to you, that is on the screen, as you can see. How can we reframe the future of Pandema as an eco-political project through the design of a new park? Because it is located in such an area that is not so much, that is neither one of the biggest cities of the country, nor so much an area with many educational or research infrastructure. How can we actually promote this area as a research and testing ground for the future developments of the country, and how to do this in a city that actually is run by the industry? And we were asking if we can maybe create this time an idea factory within the city of factories. So the project not only concentrated on the park that was given as a competition area, but we wanted to tackle the potentials and the problems of the infrastructural components, the networks that was connecting the park to the rest of the region, and also mainly to Istanbul. For that reason, we focused on not only on the plot that we were given, but we also extended our intervention area towards the port, which houses the ferry station, so that in 1.5 hours you can actually go to Istanbul. This is the most important network, but at the same time, there was a plan about maybe removing this international port from here. And in the future, then the question was, what would be happening with this port? And we have provided also a potential transformation for the future of this port in relation with the design institute and the design park that will be coming in our plot. So the plot that we were given to work with in this competition was actually an abandoned former military camp that consisted of historic buildings that were built during the Ottoman period in the 19th century. And the project examined the site and created these main formal conduits based on the location of the existing environmental inputs, the existing foliage, and also based on the existing historic buildings. And as part of the Design Institute program that was to be introduced onto this site, we have proposed a multiplicity of indoor and outdoor programs that's so that we could take advantage of the entire site as an open area for numerous research programs. And this would then be a park where both the general public and also spatial designers would be welcomed and actually integrated within an area of recreational, but at the same time academic programs. So all these programs were spread and located around the site in relation to the specific site conditions. And then right in the middle of the site and right in the middle of all these programs, the design institution building has been introduced to the area as an itinerary path, as a promenade that is connecting all these research fields to each other, which, as you can see in here, we had a broad number of spaces, open research areas, which took advantage of the native habitat of the site, but at the same time we have induced and integrated this foliage with new programs. As you can see over here, we have included areas as resting points for the fauna, which as the site was located on a bird migration route towards Mayas Lake. We have also included over here a wind field with wind stalks instead of the wind turbines, as they are friendlier with birds to promote creation of clean energy for the future urban developments of the country, as this was going to be a research center for the urbanization of the entire country. We have also added phytoremediation sites to be able to filter and cleanse water, and also create testing grounds for researchers and for academicians and for students for this kind of techniques. We have also included urban agriculture areas as productive landscape. And as I said before, in the middle of all these, the Design Institute was this promenade that was connecting all these programs to each other. And it was blended within the entire park, sometimes elevated among the trees, sometimes elevated among the historic buildings, sometimes sitting on the ground, and sometimes touching the ground as a path, or sometimes it was sunken in the ground where we had the rain gardens as well. Here you can see the overall view of the park. And as you can see, the entire building was part of the recreational program, as much as it was also part of the academic research programs. In 2017, later in the same year, the project was contracted by Balıkesir Metropolitan Municipality, and detailed execution project works and also surveys and restoration project works started and continued until early 2019. As you can see, we have incorporated the use of the historic remnants of the site within the new programs of the Design Institute, and later. Until 2019, we have completed the studies for the survey and for of the historic buildings. However, in 2019, due to economic reasons, the project has been stopped and paused. It's one of the most important projects for us, but of course, it just breaks the heart that the situation the country is going through. How they're affecting this project. The second project I would like to share with you is another competition project, this time in Croatia. It was also another international competition that we have won the first prize. And it's located in Zagreb, the capital of Croatia. The theme of this competition was, again, it was a competition that was focusing on public space. And this time the area was located on a river, on the river banks of Sava River. And Sava River is a river that runs in between 5 countries. It is the wildest and strongest branch of the river Danube, Tuna in Turkish. And it is a river as so wild that that Zagreb has actually a really peculiar relationship with the river, unlike the other European cities. The other European cities, such as Madrid, Paris, or Brussels, they are located around the river and they are recent, and their entire life was based on the river. However, in Zagreb's case, Zagreb was settled further away from the river, trying to run away as it changes course and trajectory every year. Here you can see some maps, how Zagreb was always away from the river and trying to hide away and protect itself from the harsh floods of the Sava. However, later in the 70s, with the technology of the embankment of dike building, the metropolitan municipality was able to control and channel the waters of Sava. And as you can see, since then, Zagreb expanded towards south and crossed over Sava. However, although the city expanded towards the south, the rivers, still due to the memory, the urban memory of the floods and the destruction that it created before, did not really, couldn't really achieve to become part of the city. And the competition site was this 7.1 kilometer long river bank that run from the eastern, from west to the eastern part of the city. And as you can see, it is so much in the center of Zagreb. However, it is so much also acting as a huge void in the middle of the city. The area that you can see in here, the darkest area is the water where the river is running through, is around 100, it has a width around 100 meters. And on the two sides, it has the flood zones in between the embankment that are also around 100 meters on each side. So because the area that we would be working on was at the same time a flood zone, which was covered with water generally around spring and early summer, the competition had one rule that no permanent structure would be no permanent structure could be placed on the site. So then in this project, we focused on trying to answer this question of how to transform 7-kilometer long flood terrain into enduring public space with temporary programming, because whatever we were to place in there, it had to have a temporary, it had to have an ephemeral nature. One second. As you can see, we have focused later later as we were contracted with the project site actually kind of shifted. We were contracted to design a public park for the city that run in between the 4 bridges of the city. Zagreb has this very symmetrical Austrian planning, remnant from the 17th century. And the idea was that, you know, this would be a park, a riverbank park that is temporary, but at the same time shifting with evolving with the city and shifting its change of use over the course of the years. Because the flood and because the nature of the river has been so dominant from the beginning of the design, What we have come up with was actually a sort of strategies and tactics in different scales to be able to cope with the issues of adaptability to the flood situation, and also with the issues of adaptability to the different programs that the park might necessitate in the future. Therefore, as a basis, we have started with the basic modules in the smallest scale. As we call them activators, we have designed 9 different pavilions. Each pavilion has been designed with scaffolding structures because we had an emergency flood plan. The flood has been communicated with us before the 5 days, and within the 5 days, in less than 3 days, all the structures had to be dismantled and to be removed from the area. And therefore, we have selected scaffolding structures, and these activator pavilions, as you can see, they are able to host different programs and different activities within themselves. But at the same time, they're clustering and grouping in various combinations can also create these bigger scale areas in neighborhood scale, maybe, such as you can create a temporary museum or a floating concert area or a floating market area, or maybe just a beach, as happened last year. And then on the larger scale, what we have done on the site was just preparing the riverbank with some cycling and walking paths, creating some paved areas for some of the activities, and very subtly creating some plantation areas that are not going to in no way block the flow of the water, however, is going to help slow it down and increases filtration. And within the overall city, the idea was that all these pavilions would be moved from one side to the other in between different seasons throughout the year, or throughout the year, either in between the seasons, or maybe from one year to another. And each time when the pavilions and the activities are moved from the east to the west of the city, also different parts and different districts of the city would start a conversation within each other, and this system then would also create a connection that is running in the east-west direction inside Zagreb. In 2019, early summer, we were able to implement the first phase of this project. There were numerous events for children, for the elderly. There were concerts. They have used the area as a beach. We were able to also test how fast it was to build this construction. It was really fast. It was actually faster than we thought it would be. We also were able to see the adaptability of the structures for each individual user. The decoration of the spaces were left free for the tenants, and for the users of the activities. And it provided this and it created this area all of a sudden out of nowhere. From a void, it turned into an area that welcomed too many activities over the course of last summer. The project was planned to continue this year with the second phase. However, due to the pandemic, this year the project had been postponed. Hopefully, if everything is going great, next year we will be continuing with the second phase of the project, and it will be also really exciting for us to see what more possibilities and options that the project can offer for the future. Here you are seeing some of the plans for the upcoming phases of the project. And here I really briefly, I would just like to show this video that is explaining the overall adaptability of this project for the programs, but at the same time, the flood conditions of the city. Here you can see that each individual pavilion is able to host a variety of activities and programs, and their combination together is creating an even bigger program. And each time as they are dismantled due to the seasonal nature of the river, the seasonal changes of the river, as you can see, the river either due to the rain increases its height, or sometimes, you know, also right after winter, due to the melting of as the ice and the snow is melting on the Alps, also the river level is the water level of the river is increasing. So all these are very basic realities of Sava, and the project was trying to enable some ways how to cope with this unknown, unpredictable nature of the river, but still turn this area into a vibrant public space for the city. Yeah. And the last project that I would like to show to you is actually the latest project that we have done. And again, it is an international competition. This time we have not won the first award. This time we have won the mention award in this international competition. However, maybe you guys are familiar already with this project, with this competition. Since the beginning of this week, since Monday, Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality opened a platform, an online platform where everyone can actually go and vote for the competition projects, and you can also state your opinion about it. So I really encourage you to go to istanbulsenin.org and vote for the project that you would like to for Taksim. But today I am going to be explaining you our proposal and our project for Taksim Square and our take on the entire brief. We have looked at the area as it is a space with a unique gravitational power, gravitational point. It is a social political node. It's a huge collector, not only for Istanbul, but for the entire country. And it has this dynamism and the strength that runs through from one generation to the other. And it is a space that was planned top down. However, it gained and it was embraced so much by the public that it transformed into a space where the bottom-up actions are also manifested, and it turned into a space of democracy. But at the same time, Taksim, for us, through our readings and interpretations, what we have figured out is at the same time, because of its dynamism and because of its power, it's at the same time the space where different ideas and different manifestations are facing each other. But this is rather, this facing is not creating a dialogue. Unfortunately, what we have interpreted, it's rather creating a zone of confrontation, which is causing a huge tension on the area, and this of course blocks the potentials that this powerful space can offer for its public, for the citizens. And instead we then concentrated on looking at the answers, searching the answers to these questions, where we have questioned the role of the designer, the spatial designer, how to instigate socio-political interaction, and how the designer can design for active participatory decision-making process. We also wanted to concentrate on how the designer can catalyze a public and for platforms for and inside platforms for action. And we wanted to really concentrate on the ways to figure out how we could convert this tension zone of confrontation into a collective table of dialogue. As a result, we wanted to question the role of the spatial designer, as we said, and as I said, and we did not want to introduce in here another artifact that encounters and increases the tension. Rather, we wanted to create tools that are enabling the public to incite those platforms of action, and we wanted to question, we wanted to posit the role of the architect, role of the planner and the landscape architect, the designer here, as the enablers, as the facilitators, rather than as the moderators, rather than one of the other actors who are bringing another, who are introducing another artifact in a top-down manner. And for that, we have created a hybrid framework that consisted of the combination of digital and physical infrastructure. And the digital infrastructure here was part of the entire project, as important as the physical infrastructure for us, because the communication in between the institutions and the individuals, as well as the individuals within the other individuals, is what constitutes and what creates the power of Taksim, and had been historically the case also. Therefore, we wanted to create this active platform where people, where the user, where the community and the citizens were the ones creating the space and creating this constant evolution of Taksim within the city, within the country, in a way that would be unpredictable for us as designers, and unpredictable and unknown to the rest of the society today. We just wanted to provide those tools for people to continue to take this place and to continue transforming it for future generations. And as you can see here, we have provided many layers within the digital infrastructure, as they were enabling each citizen to follow the data, learn through the information that was provided through the app that we created. There were also collective information tools where you were able to share your feedback about an ongoing situation, about an ongoing discussion, or maybe about an event. You're able to follow and monitor the security issues as well as the environmental issues. You were also able to follow the institutional council meetings, such as, for example, being able to watch a preservation committee meeting for, or maybe a master plan meeting to be approved or not. And you were able to provide your feedback to the ongoing actions. As you can see, there were many layers to how the public can actually be interacted and can be included into this participatory decision-making process. And later, as part of the, as we are special planners, special designers in this project, we had a team of architects, planners, landscape architects, And also we were working in this project with lawyers, with UX designers, and with sociologists. We did not want to create a public space that was crystallized with the decisions that we as designers would be bringing, but at the same time, we, as the experts of spatial solutions, we wanted to provide some comfort levels to be able to improve the day-to-day realities of the space. So therefore, we have created solutions for the basic infrastructural needs of the space through transportational, water management, and ecological components, as well as the ergonomic components that were all related with the digital layers. And then all these digital and physical layers were all implemented on the different commons of Taksim, and each of these layers were implemented and adjusted for the particular space, such as Republic Square is one of them. The other one is the area, the Republic Monument, also Cumhuriyet Street, Taksim Municipal Garden, Atatürk Library. So all of these areas are generating the connected commons of Taksim. However, each one of them at the same time, they have their own special characteristics, and each of the strategies that we were proposing had to be adjusted for each of the area. And the end result of this hybrid framework, where we also concentrated on the ecology components of the project, created this eco-political project for the future of Istanbul and for the future of Taksim, where we also asked this question, what is the role of Taksim as a central node within this highly urbanized part of the city, and what kind of a role can Taksim have actually to promote the decisions that the authorities and also of the individuals. How can we actually inspire a future where the ecologic and the climate related issues are also highlighted? And within the overall hybrid framework, every component of the interventions actually provided this interaction between the digital and the physical layers. So we wanted to create an area of enabling fields where all kinds of activities of participation and different changing programs and different actors, the people, the institution, the individuals, also the fauna of the area and the ecologic components of the area are welcomed within their with their transformative powers. And at the end, we have envisioned this space as an area, as an ever-changing cultural landscape that as a dynamic and symbolic space of reconciliation, and as a democratic eco-political project that evolves with Istanbul. This was the overall idea of the project. And here I would like to, without prolonging this, I would like to actually finalize my presentation. And I would like to thank you all for joining me. And now I will be waiting for your questions if you have any.
Okay, thank you very much, Zuhal, for your presentation, actually. So it was very open-minded and remind us many things, as you have, just shown us. And here, I want to just make a brief about, Zuhal's, seminar. She talked about her motivations at the beginning and how collaboration is crucial for their works and for creating such architecture in the field. I think this is very important, and our students should always keep that in their minds. And she first, talked about the Pandema program petition, which is in 2017, I guess, and their eco-political project. I think it's a good, definition for that. And Zagreb project, second, in relation with the river and the city itself. And she talked on a variety of projects from various scales, and how people and the public space interact was the main theme, I guess, in all projects. And finally, the Taksim project was with its unique land characteristics and the diversity of cultural background. I think it was very important, and talked about their proposal. And she also talked about the voting process, which is new in our lives for these competitions. And she definitely, talked, and this should, remind us how competitions have the opportunity and the power to affect the life going on an urban context and the city life. I think this is always, this kept in our minds for our students and also for our professionals. And I want to thank you at the end on behalf of the architecture department of ITU to Zuhal, and also personally for making such a seminar. And as a member of the faculty, also I want to thank you and want to say again, welcome to our new students this year, and also our other guests and faculties also watching. As far as I saw, above 100 people is here. I think it's a good number. So thank you. We may get some questions if you have, or you may write it if you want. If you have anything to just talk about. Otherwise, I will thank Zuhal and about this great seminar.
Thank you very much. I would like to remind one more time that you are able to communicate in Turkish with me if you would like to.
Ben de yani Türkçe konuştum. Tabii İngilizce başladım ama Türkçe
Evet, Türkçe de konuşabilir. Türkçe de soru gelebilir. Yabancılar da görüyorum burada. I also see that we have internationals here. But please, if you would like to ask your question in Turkish.
We welcome both English and Turkish questions. Okay.
Everything is okay. Also, it can be any kind of question, by the way. It doesn't have to be also only about the projects. If you want to ask anything more personal to me about my education or my professional life, you can also fire away.
Can I ask a question?
Of course. Who is this?
Oh, ahead.
You can introduce yourself and go on.
I am Iram, and I am a third-year student at ITU. And I wonder, have you started the Openact? How it began?
How it began? Well, it's actually quite interesting because we did not really have a plan per se to start a studio. Of course, it was probably at the backs of our minds when we were studying. It just I don't know, maybe it's a disappointing answer, but it just kind of happened on its own. So when I was pursuing my master's studies in Cornell University, I was at the same time working there as an assistant. And partially I was trying to, and with my partners at the time, Carlos and Jose, we were also attending to some competitions just to maintain the relationship that we had, since Erasmus. It was a really interesting way to continue, in a way, speaking with the Erasmus friends, because right after that period, you can very easily also lose contact. So we were keeping it quite active. by doing projects together or going and traveling together. And one of those events was actually doing a competition together, and we won a mention award at the time, and we just got really excited. And then we wanted to do another one, and then we got another award, and we got really excited. And then we wanted to do another one, and then we got another award. And then that excitement all of a sudden, you know, turn this entire endeavor into something more professional. And it was at some point no longer just an activity to maintain international relationships, but it was rather a professional daily activity for us. And that, you know, so it didn't start one day all of a sudden. It was a process that transformed, that started as something else, as a collaborative work to maintain international relationships. And then later it ended up being a studio. Since 2017, we are formally and professionally working under Openact. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you also from me. So actually Zuhal has, you know, talked in many, you know, topics, and also I think this was a very, you know, good explanation of what they are, you know, thinking and doing also. So we may, you know, just finish this, you know, seminar 2 in here as we promised to you, because we promised an hour to you. As far as I see, you know, no questions or comments on here. Zuhal, do you have anything to add at the end? I would like to ask you. You may talk in Turkish or English, it doesn't matter here.
I would just like to welcome everybody who joined this family one more time. I really would like to highlight how important it is, your relationships today with your friends, with your colleagues, and how later those people will become also important for you in the future for your professional life, as your mentors, as your collaborators, as your colleagues, as your partners, you know. So be aware that you're in such a network right now, and that network is so precious if you know how to stay in it. This is the only thing I would like to highlight and add, I guess.
Okay, thank you. Of course, you know, this network and the, you know, the abilities or the, you know, the processes that you are going through in this faculty is quite, you know, important. And maybe you get the value afterwards, and what you have learned or experienced through this process, especially the studios and, you know, of course, the other courses and everything. Actually, you just, you know, remind and you get, you know, how you just react to something, and how you think and, you know, analyze sometimes, you know, an ongoing event, and which is good and which is bad, maybe for some, you know, reason, for a land or a, you know, a situation, whatever it is. Architecture is, you know, something in a very diverse way, and then it's the variety. It's just, you know, just going through is beyond maybe your expectations. I'm talking this to the students now, and you should keep these in your minds. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you all for joining, Zuhal, and, you know, all participants. I'm ending this, you know, seminar in here. Thank you. See you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.